Reno Cervone, proprietor chef at Heritage. Mayo was eating like antelope tartare at some Tampa restaurant. Have you ever dabbled in any like one of these Anthony Bourdain type of things? Have you ever done any kind of Bourdain type of dishes at any of your restaurants? So where you got something that nobody would ever in their right mind order unless they were on some kind of hallucinogenic drug.
Listen,
they don't tip well.
People, right? You get the people that are hallucinating and just like losing their minds, or you're going to get these very sophisticated people that claim themselves as foodies, and I automatically want to throw them the fuck out. Listen, public service announcement. Stop saying you're a foodie. That just means you're an asshole. That's all that means. That's all that means.
Substitute asshole.
No, you're not. You're just really fucking opinionated. Eat and shut the fuck up and enjoy. Did you like it or not? Fuck.
That's true.
With you 1,000%. Yeah. Mayo used to be insufferable like that. Then he started admitting that he ate a Skyline chili as a matter of choice. Reno, we love you, man. All right, see what you can do on the ticks. We won't press it any further. I mean, if you give us a call out of the blue.
My best to get there even myself. I'll let you know.
All right, my friend. Always a pleasure. Guys. We'll have to get in there and see you soon.
Cheers. Let's go, baby. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, Reno Cervone, proprietor chef at Heritage.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
It just hit me, man. The song just popped into my head. I'll follow the sun. I see the sun has peaked out here, Lubie, very briefly. How are conditions by you? I mean, right now you wouldn't know that anything serious happened out here yesterday. Although, we were just absolutely drenched with monsoon-like conditions. I don't know if it was monsoon-like. Was it that bad here in Broward County? Yeah. I know Hollywood. I saw all of the news teams, and they stayed on extra, even canceled like the network news last night to have people standing in the middle of the street with boots on and showing the traffic. But there were a couple of spots around town that looked absolutely dreadful. I mean, beyond the scope of your wildest imagination. Who planned the drainage here? The same guy that put together the Golden Glades interchange? Was it the same architectural firm?
I get it. We're not by the ocean out west, so it's different. But we do have the Everglades, and it is South Florida where the water level is supposed to be like right by the ground. Out west, once around we'll get a little flooding, but it's rare that we get flooding. Like you guys out east. And I get it. You guys are more north. For some reason, the north is better at it. Like I know you and the professor will have your streets, but it's rare that you guys can't leave or whatever. But by Mayo and then more south.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I don't understand it. Like it wasn't. It was the second day.
It's like Dania, Hollywood, Hallandale.
It had rained, but fuck, like he was every 10 minutes the water was rising 4 or 5 inches. It's like.
It's insane. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, this is the second straight year. It's like I don't understand. Like, I get it. The water levels have risen with climate change. Believe me, I'm sorry, Governor DeSantis. That is a real term. I don't have a problem saying that term.
Well, don't be telling that to any young children, Lubie. Yeah. So they might be inclined to become scientists and do something about it.
It's just what the fuck, man. No, by me, it's fine. Like the grass is happy, my pool's happy. My dog was sort of annoyed at my cat because they couldn't go outside yesterday. Yeah. But other than that, it doesn't look like anything. You wouldn't have known. Some people running their sprinklers.
Who's that? Anthony Mason?
Yeah,
put the sprinklers on. During a hurricane. That was great. All right, welcome to the show. We will not have a trivia challenge. It turns out Dave Gurgles Gurgley is with a previous engagement. He's pulling an Aaron Rodgers on us, and he's got some golf tournament he's going to be either participating in or conducting. I would imagine he's conducting the thing because he is the big master of ceremonies, the big maca over there at what used to be Shula's. And now, no matter how many times he's told me, is this a sign of old age and dementia, Lubie? No matter how many times, and I'll give you the test on this one.
Yeah, I never remember the exact name. The Miami
Lakes Country Club? No, there is a Miami Lakes Country Club. There was a country club in Miami. I used to play golf there. See, now, did you travel around a little bit playing golf? Were you never caught the golf obsession, as far as I know?
Not to that level. I went to the range a lot and I played golf here and there, but I never sought out playing at lots of places or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe how much golf I just became infatuated with it. I tend to be a little bit obsessive with certain things like that when I get involved in any kind of a game, a sport, or whatever, and then I just want to play it all the time. and I couldn't get enough golf. And it used to be like $5 to go out and walk a course. Now, course, you would have to put. We got the. I don't really like this. The finger quotes that people put up to the screen there, but calling Hollywood Lakes a course at that point in time, it was more like it was either it was a cross between a cow pasture and a mosquito hatchery. What a piece of shit golf course! It became. I think it became. Is it not Grand Palms, Grand Lakes or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it became part of that whole Western development because Lubie went when I came here in the early '80s. There was nothing west of University Drive, and nothing. And I was amazed by the fact that A, you could play golf all day for like no money, and B, the way the streets flooded. I started out living in Dade County primarily in my very early stages here, and it freaked me out because in California, in spite of the fact that people saying that it doesn't rain in California, well, it does. Yeah, and when it does, it'll rain for like 40 straight days.
Yeah, it rains.
All right. The big question every morning was, hey, they're going to be on the turf at Santa Anita today? No? All right. I'm not going.
Yeah.
And yet the roadways, you wouldn't see this kind of flooding. They had these grooves on the highway that, and obviously they have a little bit of undulation there that we don't get to take the benefit of here in South Florida because it's flat as a fucking pancake here.
Yes.
It just is.
Yes.
And we're subterranean. So anyway, I hope everybody made it out of there okay. I saw Mayo. He sent those pictures. That's horrible, right?
That was crazy.
Flooded again? Are you kidding? I don't care how much money you're making off the insurance company. It's still a disaster.
Yes. Well, the problem is it gets into his house. I guess his back part of the house used to be sort of Florida roomish. So it was outside, then became inside. So it's not like the main house.
What a pain in the ass.
But it gets into the house. His like office, and it's like.
And you got mold, and next thing you know, you're on oxygen. You're laid out in some hospital. You're checking into Holy Cross. Be next to Sarni and me, and maybe Andy. I don't know. Where is Andy? Andy's okay right now, right?
At home. He's doing better, thank God.
Okay, good. Yeah. We're hoping so. Anyway, so that was the story yesterday, and it did delay the flight of the Florida Panthers.
Yes.
In their quest, but it wasn't really. It didn't seem that bad. I mean, if you're a hockey player and you're sitting on some chartered flight, you're not in there with a bunch of schminks saying, I had the aisle.
No, I mean it's a nice flight. You're not.
But I guess they were delayed like 3 hours.
I just don't understand why was Edmonton able to get out Tuesday, and why didn't they try and leave Tuesday? Like I don't know. Like I don't get
one more practice at home. I don't know.
I don't know. I would rather have been there. That's a long ass flight. To get there the night before the game time. Like they got there late.
Isn't this the time we need somebody, some kind of a mole inside the organization? Not talking about Randy Moeller, but to let us know what was the. Can you tell anything by that? I mean, if you saw a bunch of hockey players, they seem like they're out on an all-night bender all the time. Can you play in the NHL? Yes. I mean, what kind of constitution as men do these guys have? This is a freak mode. It's a different level of DNA that these guys are displaying, the NHL players. That's 2 games into the final round. I have a couple of thoughts. I mean, I don't want it to end. I want to see more of this shit. And yet, I'd be amazed. I never thought that the Panthers, when they were mired in this sub-mediocrity forever under Dale Talon, did you ever think that, that they would not only turn it around, but then become like at least for this brief period of time, and it's hard to dominate in any sport anymore. But I mean, they're right there at the top of the game, with a chance to win a championship, and finally put to bed that question, Lubie. Who do you think's going to be the next South Florida team to win a championship?
Yeah.
And some wise guy will throw in a picture of Mario Cristobal in a cane. Yeah. You're like, fuck you, that ain't happening. The Marlins aren't going anywhere for how long will that take to recover from this last couple of years? I mean, it was Jeter. Can we pin this all on Jeter? I don't think so.
No, it was bad before Jeter. Jeter just didn't make it better. Jeter like doubled down. And Bruce Sherman.
The current condition, though, I mean, is this at all relatable to some of it? I guess has to do with Jeter, but
I mean, it's worse because at least when Jeter came in with. Every one of those guys is if not a perennial all-star, perennial strong starter for their team, and he got rid of all of them, and had nothing to show for it. and then got rid of prospects who became Cy Young candidates and has literally every single move they made, not one worked out. Not one worked out. And you got rid of
I'm looking at the game last night, Lubie. I mean, who are these guys? I mean, who would assemble a bunch of schleps like this and try to sell it?
Fucking joke. It's a minor league. Look, it is.
But how did they whiff on all of these prospects when they dealt all of these stars? I mean, I'm watching Ozuna hit home run after home run for the Braves, who, by the way, if you're betting the Braves, which I was inclined to do before the season to win it all,
they've been rough, right?
Acuna is the baseball version of your man Porzingis, is he not?
Every year, every other year,
what an exciting player to take off the field. I mean, I don't miss Porzingis, if he's not in a game. I mean, is his game? It's sort of entertaining to see this 7'2" geek out there.
He's a fucking really tough matchup, and he gives the Celtics something they don't have. They don't have a big man. Al Horford loves playing on the perimeter.
Did you? I'm sure. Yeah, you not necessarily being the tallest of people, but did you ever have to guard a guy that was like a foot taller than you?
Yes, my whole life.
And you're putting the thing up, like the hand up, and it's doing nothing to this guy. No, not even the most minor of disturbances or distractions.
He's a tall dude who's a great shooter, and he makes it almost every fucking time.
Yeah,
and lives on the perimeter, so he takes your big guys out of the middle, and then on top of that, he's a sieve defensively, but unlike Luka, he doesn't have to do much. He just can stand in the middle a lot of the time and just be there.
Yeah, he's a tall motherfucker.
A whole different guy. Even Luka, who just doesn't look like himself at all. It's when you were hearing he was 60% in the last series, and then every other game you saw 40, but then the other game.
You see what they're doing to this guy, Lubie? I mean, he was wrapped up like he just got peeled off the mat in Vietnam after stepping on a mine.
He doesn't look good. But they were attacking the paint a lot more last night when you didn't have a 7-2 guy in there. So what Porzingis does is he's a really tough matchup. But he's their fourth dude. Like, you're not, let's watch Porzingis. The only reason I brought up Porzingis from the beginning was because I thought it was funny when they made the move and hailed that like the move. I'm like, you may win when you play everyone and their best players hurt.
Yeah.
You get the title out of that. But it's not like Porzingis is your Kevin Durant. Like, he's never going to play. And I wasn't saying that to be mean. I don't even want the guy. I don't ask for people to be hurt. I hated Tim Tebow. I never said, I hope Tim Tebow was hurt. Like, that's the worst thing you can do is wish for an injury.
No, you don't
for it. He's fucking Porzingis. He's the most fragile player in basketball. And he may be one of the most fragile players in sports history. Like, I literally said he's going to miss lots of games. No, he didn't miss him because of injury. He missed 30 games for game management. It's the same fucking difference. Then I'm like, but the playoffs is the worst for him. You never can count him in the playoffs. Game 2, out the whole playoffs.
And on a nothing thing, I mean, when you're watching how he originally injured this calf.
Well, they're all things that
didn't look like shit happened there. Nothing. I mean, and then to have a disease of some sort.
So they can't even pronounce it. They can't even pronounce this fucking thing he has. So it's like, it wasn't that they can't win without him.
Well, they clearly can. Did you notice any big difference in what was happening last night? No.
The Mavs hung in
wild swings. Yeah, I mean, they were wild swings
to get to the basket. And when they got down by 21, they literally cut into the lead in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And if Porzingis,
I was surprised. I turned the game off. I was doing something else, and then it was a close game. It was like even at halftime or 1 point either way, and then, all of a sudden, I get a text from our guy, Troy West, all the way from Seattle. And he had given out the Celtics as the winner of the game. And also, did he also have the under? I think he had both. So he was saying it was trending perfectly in that direction. And then the next thing you know, I get another text from the guy saying, oh, shit, it's a game again. And I thought, how could that be? So I turned it back on. And Dallas was just finished with that 20-2 run that they got on, which is pretty amazing. And you're thinking, my God, the Celtics really are a bunch of choking dogs. You almost got your wish. I mean, Ben Affleck had to be puking.
Well, Luka doesn't foul out, the Mavs win that game.
Yeah.
The 2 fouls.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure I agree with that.
They cut it to 2 without Luka. Like, to me, they shaved off literally 16 points in like 5 minutes. To me, if Luka,
but you know how that goes, Lubie. When you're buried, and then you make the big run, and usually you get to a certain point, like, well, they got within 3, and then the other team cans a couple of threes, and the next thing you know, you're down 9 again. So yeah, I don't know that it was unanticipated that Boston would bounce back out of that, but Yeah, I mean, look, did it help him any that Luka fouled out? And the more I looked at that, at first I thought that's horrendous that they called this foul on Doncic. But I mean, you had to call something there. Is what was it? Jaylen Brown crashed into him, and he did shove off, but Luka had. I mean, if you were going to call this moving screen, which has been so debatable throughout the postseason, to the point of disgust, where you couldn't believe some of the shit that was going on, largely in the favor of the New York Knicks in the early stages of the postseason. How long ago was that, Louis? When we were crying about the officiating being rigged, as if we were Donald Trump facing another indictment about the rigged system, and we were crying about that pretty heavily there in that Knicks Pacers series, where they were calling ridiculous shit on the moving screen, and yet allowing others to go completely unpunished and not called at all. But I think if you were going to call a foul because of the contact on that play, you probably had to call it on Doncic.
My problem,
as much as I don't like to say that, because I hate when they just get away with blatantly shoving guys off. But yeah, I think he did kind of move into him a little bit. He wasn't stationary.
Well, I don't know what. Okay, okay. You're talking about the charge. Okay, so to me, the last two calls were very wrong. The second last one was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. Jaylen Brown literally grabs Luka. Then you can see Jaylen Brown put his hand on Luka's ass and shove Luka. And that causes Luka to fall. Upon Luka falling, they then call a foul on
Doncic. Yeah.
And it was like, that's not even mathematically.
But prior to that, all of that, I mean, he gives it the old.
No, he's not. He's a horrendous defender. He doesn't even try to defend.
Well, he tried to set up, and then he wasn't quite in position, and I hate that blocking charge thing, especially when it's suspect to call it to begin with. I think there with bodies flying, you have to call something if you're the officials. And what I saw originally was had me appalled, because I was like you. I thought, well, Jesus Christ, fucking Jaylen Brown just shoves the guy, practically grabs him by the balls and shoves him back.
I mean, it was a horrible call. Look, the Celtics barely went to the line. Again, shoot 53s. That's why when they were going to the line 30 times in games, I'm like, they shoot 45 threes. How are you going to the line fucking 35 times in a game when you shoot 40 threes? They had 24 threes in like the late first quarter. Like, they shoot a lot of threes. But anyways,
number one team in the league, I believe the Celtics are in both attempts and made baskets.
I haven't bitched, but those were back. Like, you can admit when I call. I mean, you got a guy who's never fouled out in the playoffs ever. He doesn't play defense. How do you foul out when you don't play fucking defense? Fouling out with 5 minutes left in an NBA Finals game. And the last two calls were high. First of all, the fifth foul was not a foul on him. It was Jason Kidd.
The fifth one was really bad.
It is weird. Like, these are fouls that are huge. That one was blatant. The replay showed that Jaylen Brown.
I would agree with you on that one.
He hooked him.
Yeah.
Which is a vet move. You try to pull the move if you can get away with a fine.
Right.
But it's an offensive foul. He hooked him, and then to add insult to injury, he extends his arm and shoves the shit out of him. It was an offensive foul. To challenge it, they would have, I think.
I was surprised he didn't challenge that one.
They would have gotten that right.
Yeah.
We would still only have 4 fouls, so that charge block wouldn't have meant as much.
It cost them the game, is what you're saying, basically.
It's not guaranteed they would have won.
There are a lot of strange verdicts on the replay challenges, especially in the NBA when it comes to challenging a foul.
They don't always overturn it. I get it. But with a minute left, they cut it with a minute and a half. They cut it to 2 without Luka. To me, I think I'd rather have Luka in the fucking game. He was playing a little bit better offensively.
Oh, of course you would. Because, look, you at least have to pay attention to the guy and maybe even send 2 guys after him. So
have that guy foul out, the guy who we all agree.
That was it. That was it. The Flowers were in the punch.
Defense.
Exactly.
It was fucking weird. The charge block, to me, he got there. He got set. It was a charge. You called it a block. There
was a little bit of a nudge there. Trust me.
Well, the leg moved. I wasn't like, it was just that you fouled.
It was awful. It was a terrible way to have the guy be fouled out of the game.
That's my problem. When you have a superstar, when you have a superstar foul out on a charge.
But if you have bodies flying in all directions and you don't blow a whistle, then you're not doing your job as an official either. I mean, it's hard to consider that to have been incidental contact. It's not like they tripped over each other. You either had to call the offensive foul on Jaylen Brown, which, had they done that, I don't know that you could have been screaming about that either if you were a Celtic fan.
No, so look, to me, kid challenged the wrong one. Luca was begging him to challenge it. He finally challenged the second one.
First one, I 100% agree with you, Lubie. I definitely do. And the second one was just a shame.
Yeah,
And I would imagine Adam Silver, he was at the game. I think I saw a halftime interview with him. And he was talking about how the league is expanding and all of this stuff. And it's like, hey, Adam, why doesn't anybody on the set say, what are you going to do about these blind-ass fucking officials?
I just feel like if it was Jason Tatum with 5 fouls.
Yes.
And it was a close call.
Oh, then it definitely would have gone the other way.
He's not fouling out. You may call nothing. That's why when you're saying they had to call something, did they? Because if you don't want to call a charge there, which you didn't have to call a charge, I'm telling you right now, I'd almost stake my fucking life on it that Jason Tatum in the NBA Finals is not going to foul out on a fucking block.
You think this is retribution being paid against Mark Cuban for being an asshole when he came into the league? At least in the eyes of the league offices.
I'm not saying
he's calmed down, though. I mean, he's become a huge advocate for the NBA.
Yeah, he's different.
Yeah.
He's older and all that.
He made him a lot of money. That franchise was dead before Mark Cuban got there. Remember?
Him around.
No one gave a shit about the Dallas Mavericks. They had their little run.
100%. You're being a Boston homer motherfucker if you think Jason Tatum is fouling out in a Stanley Cup game. I'm sorry, an NBA Finals game on a block. I'm sorry.
You and Brian, man.
Your fucking blood is green. If you think that
Brian's got money on the Celtics. What are you talking about?
Jason Tatum is going to foul out on a fucking block. If you think that, the fact that we have any competition is pointless. No, that's dumb. That's bullshit. It's like Michael Jordan fouling out. Michael Jordan fouling out on a fucking block. Get the fuck out of here.
Imagine if they'd call an offensive foul on that shot in the Utah game.
Fine. Okay. But know what you're doing.
Right.
It's 4 minutes left in a big game, NBA Finals game. No, I've never seen someone foul out on that play. Sorry.
Right, we're gonna put an ice bag on Lubie's head and come back in a moment. We do have the Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
Yeah,
that, as they say, to quote the great Al Bernstein, my good friend Al Bernstein, a boxing fame, that should be an intriguing matchup. I used to love that. When Al and I had the pleasure of working with him on a few fights here at the Hard Rock Hotel and a couple of other places. And a real gentleman, too. Very knowledgeable. Always a lot of fun to be around. Great. You'd be sitting by the ring, after going through whatever they do in the preliminary meetings. And, so you're there a little bit early, way before the fights. And, you're sitting there talking to like Al Bernstein, Arthur Mercani. Like boxing legends. And he was always a gentleman. But, he always referred to, it wouldn't matter. You could be talking about, some guy from Panama against a Nigerian who's making his pro debut. And Al would say, well, this first bout figures to be, Lubie, a very intriguing matchup. So is this an intriguing matchup tonight? There are elements there. We were speculating earlier that the Panthers would bring in Paul Laws and Peter Worrell, no? To go ahead and deal with Draisaitl in that situation. Because you talk about retribution. The NHL players, do they just let that go? Or would you be considered a pussy team if after Draisaitl nearly decapitated Sasha Barkov, that in the next game somebody didn't do something to a key Edmonton Oiler? Who's going to get it tonight? Connor McDavid? Bouchard? Who's going to get it from the Florida Panthers? That's the big question of the game. All right, we're coming back with more here in a moment. That's Mike Lubie Lubitz. I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in. Brian Schwartz doing an excellent job of getting under Lubie's skin here by promoting the idea that...
Want to know how many fouls Jason Tatum had in an NBA Finals game? He's supposedly become one of the great wing defenders. Yes. He's covering 2 of the best scorers ever. He had 2 fouls in an NBA Finals game where he played a lot. He was engaged. He played really well last night, right? His defense, a lot of the reason why he wasn't scoring was his defense against Luka and Kyrie. In an NBA Finals game, he had 2 fouls. 2. Luka, who doesn't play defense, not even that, he's just so bad he fouled. No, he doesn't. He literally lets guys go by, fouls out on a fucking block. And you're telling me that Jason Tatum would have gotten stiffer treatment. He had 2 fouls. You could not try and get fucking 3 fouls, especially if you're covering Luka and Kyrie. Yeah. 2 fouls? Come on, man. Get out of here. The refs didn't give them the game. They didn't win because of the refs. But just admit what is. That was a horrendous call. And fouling Luka, the second best player, in the league out on a block charge with 3 to 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left in an NBA Finals game is something I've never seen.
Not that it was a crucial game. I mean, with the Celtics leading 2-0 in the series and with the chance of clearly losing that game.
It's okay. Look, they're whatever the route is, whatever the shit I'm going to say, they're going to win a title. A title is a fucking title. You take it.
Give it to him, man. I mean, Red Auerbach is going to be coming back to life. They'll be in celebration all the way. I don't know. I mean, maybe Dallas gets the token game 4.
I think they'll win game 4, and
I'm not sure. Doncic, when you see clips of how he's dealing with whatever it is, he's got some kind of rib contusion or something. I don't know. I mean, and they're shooting him up before the game. They hired Victor Conti for their medical staff. I mean, they have a lot of things going on with that. And while Kyrie Irving was much better last night, more like himself, it's not enough. They just the Celtics have more good players. The guy that you hate to say this because it seems like, geez, it's another one of those guys that when I watch him, I'm like, okay, I get it. But Drew Holiday being such an essential part,
he's huge.
And he always had a floor game to be respected. His shooting sometimes left him looking a little suspect.
He had like 10 points yesterday. He's inconsistent offensively, but he's really good. He's taken what was a good defense and allowed it to be. There's always 2 to 3 good defenders on the court for them. Always. And
these guys hustle in pretty good symmetry, even though they're very interchangeable parts in some ways. The key guys on the Celtics, including Derek White. And, that's, I think, the big difference is that any one of those 4 guys, and if they had Porzingis, it could be a 5th, can go off and have a big offensive game. Whereas if you're not getting, maximum capacity performances out of both Irving and Doncic, you don't have a shot.
Look,
the Dallas Mavericks.
This Mavs team that we're seeing, and it can all be because of the Celtics, even though the T-Wolves defense is elite and the Thunder defense is elite. So it's hard for me to say it's all the Celtics. Yeah. This Mavs team is a team we thought would lose to the Clippers. This Mavs team is the team that is a 5th seed. They hadn't played like fucking this. No. And again, if you want to attribute it to the Celtics, fine. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. They're the better team, clearly, in this series. But they're playing this Mavs team. Kyrie was better last night. Luka's not himself. PJ Washington's been a shell of what he was. Lively was better last night, but has not been the guy we saw the whole. It's annoying that they're playing like this now. And if you want to attribute the Celtics, fine. The Thunder, I feel like the Thunder, T-Wolves, and Nuggets would have all given them a much better game, much better series, but they didn't make it here. The Mavs. Yeah. And this is what we have as a final.
Lucky draw, as we were saying earlier today. Lucky draw by the Celtics all the way through. Not that they don't deserve it. I mean, you play who's there, but we know the rhetoric. All right, we got to run. Now, we've been trying to hit this break here for like the last 10 minutes, and then you get into it with Brian on the chat line, implying that you were flat out of your mind. And we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that. The time. It's 8:38. Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Hi, guys. If I could squeeze in two. One is just, can you say with certainty that Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the roster on Sunday?
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
From South Florida to the entire world, thank you to the iHeartRadio app. Here is Defo joined by Lubie on The Defo Show.
Does it apply in this case, Lubie, that all publicity is good publicity and that this whole Caitlin Clark thing is actually good for everybody involved? What do you think?
It probably is, because she's going to end up making. That was from the beginning. My sort of feeling was she's going to make it anyways.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here talking about it, and you have Stephen A. Smith losing it, and this Monica McNutt and all these people that I don't care about losing it. And in the end, she's going to make the team.
Right. This Chelsea Gray has been injured.
Yeah,
she's one of the 12. Is it only 12 that they take? Is that why it's at such a premium? Why can't you throw an extra person in there?
I thought it was 15 to 18 is usually a roster.
Like, do you think the Russians are there international rules that regulate the? I would imagine that's.
You can only have a certain amount of people. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but it seems like a low number, doesn't it? 12 on a basketball team these days. Don't you need like 15?
I thought it's at least 15. Yeah, that's weird. 12 is a weird number. Usually,
12. I mean, was the number of players that you could have on an NBA squad for a long time. I don't know if that's been expanded, because it seems like they have 12 coaches now. I mean, they need 3 rows of seats just to accommodate. Oh yeah, there he is. He's top level assistant there for the Heat. How many guys are coaches for the Miami Heat or any of these NBA teams? It seems like they have a coach for every player. No,
they have 2 rows. So it's at least.
It's funny, yeah. But anyway, I mean, my thought was, let's go. You got to take this girl on the Olympic team. You're trying to promote your game. I mean, why do you take a break for whatever it is, 2-3 weeks or whatever of the WNBA season, which nobody gave a shit about the WNBA prior to this year. Nobody. I mean, maybe it was coming on a little bit. I don't know. But it has been subsidized by the NBA for a long period of time. I don't know that they were ever going to conceive of drawing capacity crowds, maybe for some games. But it was a distant afterthought in the minds of many basketball fans. No question about that. And I'm sure, like anything, it has its fan base. And are they very vocal? I mean, you're hearing more and more people acting like they've been WNBA fans for a long period of time. I would have to say that's flat out bullshit, because I didn't even know, were it not for the NBA subsidizing the league, would they still be in existence? They would have been bleeding red ink to the point that even early owners in the USFL never experienced this kind of financial bloodbath. So how do you go for this giant international promotion, which is essentially what all sports are doing, right? We just had the Mets playing the Red Sox in in England. In the middle of the season, Lubie. This is the direction of all sports. Adam Silver last night, what little portion of the interview that he was doing I caught, which I don't know. I mean, do we have respect for Adam Silver at this point? He seems like a guy that you can't help but like. Doesn't he seem like a very likable character?
He's fine, and he's been okay answering things. Just the China thing sort of put it under light that he's
and it's all bullshit.
This great, champion.
Yeah.
When he did the stuff early on with Donald Sterling, he came out.
Sterling thing, he came off like, hey, this guy's great, man. Thank God we got rid of Sterling.
Even before, we all were like, oh, they're not going to do anything to Sterling until the sponsors, and they really didn't. He at least came out and said shit pretty early on. So you felt, oh, good for him.
And they all knew about this anyway.
Yes.
I mean, it was no secret that Sterling was a racist bastard. Yeah.
He was racist as fuck. A scumbag, and was a miser. Like, he notoriously was cheap as fuck with his team, which owners hate that. Like,
well, I don't think they were happy when he moved the team to LA.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, that was kind of like an NBA version of Al Davis, wasn't it?
Yes, he was just a piece of garbage. So they had been trying to get rid of him for years, and so it was a soft landing for Adam Silver, honestly, but it was cool to see an owner, a commish stand up to an owner when we see Roger Goodell just bend over to the owners.
Oh yeah.
here. So it was nice. And David Stern, as much as he was the leader, he never really went at it with
Adams would have like a picture of a hanging in his office from the deep south. And Roger would be sitting across from him just asking him about the fucking weather. I mean,
so it was cool. Look, it was cool to see Silver be like that, but he's not that guy. And it's fine. He's like Bettman. He's a commissioner. He's gonna do his job, and that's fine. But he's not some like forerunner or whatever the fuck. Like,
well, on his, the gist of what he was saying during the time I was watching the interview, it was simply that they're infatuated with the idea of international marketing, and that the game is the second biggest game internationally, right behind, as ridiculous as it may seem, right behind soccer as an international sporting entity. So I mean, if you're going to try and market the game, and then you've been supporting, how does the commissioner not intervene here? Adam Silver has every right to tell these women on the U.S. Olympic Committee she's playing, and playing a lot. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I do believe in the idea that you need to earn your spot there. I never was a big fan. I thought what was like the baseball All-Star game, Louis, when they were putting guys on that were hitting 220 at the tail end of their career, the token appearance by Willie Mays or the Mick, and you're thinking, that's fine. I mean, but you don't want to deprive a deserving all-star of their chance to be on that team. So why not just make special considerations, Louis? Which I guess in this case, you could only accomplish by naming her an alternate. And it does seem like this is going to be one of those Bruno Sammartino things where he shows up just as Monsoon is about to bury Arnold Skolin. And, he's still wearing his business clothes or whatever, or his travel outfit, and he runs into the ring. At the last second, we will see Caitlin Clark coming in there.
No, she's going to be there. I mean, that's what I thought the whole time. She's not going to be a starter. She's not, whatever. It doesn't. Who gives a shit? It's like the All-Star game.
You want to have her out there as an ambassador, though, do you not?
Yes.
Even if she's just taking shots in warm-ups. The little girls around the world want to see this woman.
Look, you want people to make it who deserve it, and I get it. And we always have the snubs and this and that. The 12th or the 15th person, to have them there over the person that you're selling out arenas for. And she's not playing bad either. It's not like she's selling out arenas and then she goes out there and lays a dud. Her team doesn't win fine, but she's actually playing pretty well. Like,
this would be like leaving Mark the Bird Fidrich off the All-Star team that year that he had the entire universe captured and their imaginations captured in every start that he made, right? Who gave a shit about the Detroit? Oh, they were good back then, I guess. Anybody. I mean, when you had Lynn Sanity going on, this is just a larger version of it, which figures to perpetuate itself for some time. So we'll see. Anyway, I would expect that she's going to be out there, and it's amazing the amount of conversation that this whole thing has generated. And if they had chosen her for the team, do you think that there would have been as many people screaming, "Hey, wait a minute! You know what? This Chelsea Gray should be on there, even though she can't walk"? I don't know. Tonight, Lubie, what are we thinking? We definitely need to focus in on this a little bit. We also have the U.S. Open getting underway in golf. A lot of money will go up in smoke, I would imagine, betting Tiger Woods in this thing. No, people don't do that anymore, do they? Do you take a shot with Tiger Woods? You could be a member of Tiger's family. Charlie, probably wouldn't even bet on his own man in this thing. And I always love the Tiger Woods statement. How do you feel when Tiger's looking at you now? And he seems to be far more genuine than he ever was at any other time that we've seen him, right? Would you agree that there's been at least a little bit of a perceivable transformation in the way that Tiger Woods approaches his appearances in the media, where he was very guarded at one time, and now he just seems like he's actually telling it somewhat like it is. But he does believe he can win the U.S. Open. I don't know. Does anybody else believe that?
Oh, if he believes that, that's crazy. I mean, look, not crazy. Look, you sort of have to, and he's won countless majors. So yes, I guess somewhere
Kevin Costner probably has a better chance of winning it. Yeah.
Somewhere in there, he thinks he can win it fine. I mean, there's to me a difference between knowing you're gonna win and thinking you can win. Yes, maybe he thinks he can win. I feel like Tiger 15 years ago or 20 years ago didn't feel he can win. He wore a fucking specific shirt on the last day of the tournaments every tournament. You don't do that when you think you can. You do that when you feel like you're going to. Like it's a different sentiment, and he's not the same. And to me, again, like we've talked about,
does he make the cut here?
Make the cut.
Yeah.
My focus isn't him winning fucking tournaments.
Yeah.
Make the cut. He doesn't. He's missed the last 2 to 3 cuts.
It's more painful though when he makes the cut, because then he has to go 2 more rounds, and it does appear that he's badly impeded in terms of. I mean, I remember that whole Casey Martin debate about whether it made any difference if you had to walk or not. And look, all of us duffers and hackers out there, or even if you're an accomplished golfer, you're riding around in a cart, you would have to say when it's 138 degrees and there's lightning off in the very, a near, I guess, can you have a near distance? But lightning nearby, let's put it that way. And you're riding around in a cart. It's a big difference than having schlepped already 15 holes as you're making your way back to the clubhouse, right? So it can make a difference. And then we see these courses are not the dead flat, paths that you have and tracks that you have here in South Florida. So that can make it even more arduous for a guy that's walking around on a pair of bum legs, hips that what operation hasn't this guy had at this point?
I mean, lower body. I don't know. I think it's all of it. And isn't his back fucked up too? Because remember he had that
everything. Yeah. He would trade backs with Freddie Couples, I think.
Look, the fact that he's still playing is impressive for him. I don't know. The whole thing's weird to me that they still, like, Nicholas and Palmer got older, but I guess there was another crop, because growing up from when I was growing would have been when they were older. And I don't remember them just like, my grandfather loved golf. My dad liked golf. So they were always watching golf. I don't remember them. And there was cameras and all that. I don't remember them only watching them when other guys were leading. Like, to me, it's sort of sad that Tiger's been this for years now. Like, yeah, he won a major 4 or 5 years ago. That was an aberration from him being this. Like, he's been this for like 8 to 10 years now. Like, to me, or increasingly worse, that they still follow. Like Scheffler, you have every shot. That is like doing Tiger type shit, right? Scheffler has won 4 or 5 of the last tournaments. He's won.
Scotty Scheffler, he's got 5 out of 8 starts this year. He's won.
He's playing great. You have he has no personality.
He's made more than 8 starts, but 5 of his last 8, I think.
No personality, fine, but right, you just want someone that dominates.
You know how good he is. I mean, and this is from a degenerate standpoint. He's 3-1 to win the U.S. Open, and then the golf pool that I often refer to, which I think is great, and they give you the 7 lists of like 10 guys. They left Scheffler off as the tiebreaker because otherwise no one would pick anybody else on that list.
I won't even like to pick him.
I'm looking at the list. I'm going, where the fuck is Scheffler? And naturally, I want to have him on my team.
So
you can't bet against him in these spots. That's for sure.
It's just annoying to me.
You can, you have to, but I mean, in a pool situation, naturally, you're going to take him over 9 other guys.
Yeah, look, I get it. Tiger was never Mr. fucking charisma, but he did the thing where he fist pumped and he bitched and they yelled at fans, so it made it feel like there was a presence with him. So
Steve Williams, the caddy,
and he was great too. And I get it, Scheffler's not that. But he's been winning enough where you can follow his ass. You have all these other guys that are interesting to watch. Who do they follow still to this day? Fucking Tiger. He hasn't been great in 10 years. Like,
literally, Tiger takes his shit, man. He goes into one of the porta sands there by the side of the hole, and they're in there with ass cam. It's incredible. I don't mind it. You know what? I kind of, when you saw Andy Murray come back in tennis, and you're thinking, what is this guy doing out there? You were particularly, against the idea that, and it became sort of a joke after a while that they kept giving Venus Williams.
It was Venus. Venus was the one because it was sad.
Passes into the majors. I mean, you might have had a premature evaluation about her impending, doom. But
that was like 3 or 4 years early. I admit it.
That was early, and she was functional. But then it became, I mean, it's a joke. She was going to lose to the number 239 woman in the world in the first round of whatever tournament they gave her a pass into. And in this case, again, much like the Caitlin Clark story, was she depriving some deserving person of being there, or did she just deserve it because she was still out there? Andy Murray will still win a match or 2 here and there. I mean, he's not probably getting past the second round of any tournament, but at least he gives a good account of himself. I suppose, I don't know, there have been rare occasions where Tiger Woods has done that. Look, I don't mind seeing him out there, though. If he thinks he can win, what the hell? But it's just a shame to think that, he will dominate the coverage, number one. And number two, that people are actually sending in money thinking he can win the tournament.
Look, as fan, we've talked about this, and I've usually been on the side of why not just retire? We don't want to watch you be that way. But you know what? It's not.
If he wants to do it, fine. Yeah.
And usually say this: if you only get to do this for so long, right? Even if you're not what you were, going out there, being in the locker room, going out there and playing. Who am I to take that from you? Especially when you're a fucking icon. You want to keep playing, fine. My thing is, why does it have to be at the forefront of the coverage? It's sadder to me to put a spotlight. Let him just play. Let him enjoy, like Arnie and Jack used to do. Let them enjoy their game that they love in a competitive way, and show if he makes, because he'll make an occasional good shot. He'll have an occasional good round. Show that, but don't make him the focal point of your coverage. It's like sad. That's actually sad to me to focus on the guy hitting 6 or 7.
Yeah, really. It's like watching Arnie in those last days when they were dragging him around the Masters course and making him play like 9 holes. And you thought, really? Do you have to do this to the guy? The guy's in a fucking wheelchair coming to the first tee.
Look, Ryan brings up the point, but like, so is that true though? Because I don't watch. I used to watch a lot more golf, and I think that's a lot of why I don't, because I don't want to see them showing.
Well, they don't have anybody that's that compelling. And then, when you had the defections to the Live Tour, that didn't help the game much. I would imagine Jim Sarney probably could attest to this. Ratings are probably higher than ever. No, but you always need that. That's the exact foundation of the argument about Caitlin Clark. I mean, when you have this kind of attraction.
Yep.
You have to give the people, a little bit of what they want. I mean, maybe it's overkill, and it always was with Tiger Woods. But then he was justifying a lot of that by being beyond the scope of your wildest imagination. The amazing thing is that he never blew by the Big Jack major total of 18. And what was amazing, he even got the 15th one in that Masters, which killed me because I had any number of guys in contention there, and all of a sudden Tiger comes out of nowhere and wins the fucking thing. And you're saying, no, God, the gods of gambling, particularly cruel. I think I had, what's a guy, Molinari? And he's right there. He's going to win it at like 25-1 for me. And sure enough, Tiger's teeing off with him on, it was like 13. And all of a sudden takes command of the tournament. And you're like, my God, this guy's going to win? That's impossible. But I don't begrudge him being out there at all. I really don't. Maybe, like you said, if they didn't do the overkill. I mean, Jim Nantz literally is like licking this guy's fanny all the way around the course. And is Nance losing it too? It seems like. I don't know if you saw any of this recent golf coverage where Scheffler won the other day, but at the Memorial where Big Jack was out there, and Big Jack teared up talking about his wife and her contributions to his life. See, now Big Jack was a guy that a lot of fans really didn't care for because Arnie was the man back then. And here comes this, I mean, it's funny too because you see clips of Jack Nicklaus. When at one time he was like a huge sort of hulking guy, and then he was almost smallish compared to the image that you have of him. He really became like an engaging and sort of endearing golf character, didn't he?
Look, it was very Tiger-like. Tiger was a douche. I hated Tiger. Like he felt holier than thou. So it made me root for his day. He had the day, and I was like, see, I knew he wasn't fucking perfect. I couldn't stand Tiger. And then he got older, like you've talked about, had kids. Yeah. Life beat the living shit out of him, and he became a human being. Like I feel like from what I've heard, Jack Nicklaus maybe wasn't as bad as Tiger, but had a very sort of similar arc where he was sort of the guy that people were like, fuck you, Jack. Yeah. Arnie's the guy. And then he got older, and he became the Golden Bear and all that other shit. And
yeah, he just seemed to be bullying poor Arnie at the time. And took over the game, and then everybody loved him. But it'll be interesting. Anyway, it gets underway today. It's probably underway already at Pinehurst, which is a particularly challenging course. They were talking about the greens being of the type that will draw many complaints, where they have them, I forget what the exact term was, but they have them so that you could put a putt like an inch past the hole, and it's going to roll off the other side into a sand trap.
That's crazy.
Remember when Payne Stewart won the thing? That was a big complaint that the greens were so ridiculously slick. But I don't know that they need to do that. But we'll see. Because the U.S. Open scores are never like, you don't see it like it was, the John Deere Classic or something where the leaders are all 26, 27 under. And I don't know that you're going to see that. All right, we have to get out of here. A lot of fun being with you later on today. Is it on today?
Yes, Batch. We'll be at Batch. Southern Kitchen and Tap.
Okay, I'm sort of on the questionable list, although I believe I will be there because my car is still in
car,
the shop. Yeah.
fucking car. Oh, God.
Well, it turned out I needed tires also. So supposedly they're getting those this morning, and hopefully I'll have the car back by
Let me
12
know.
o'clock or so.
Brandon finally can join us. So, I mean,
No, I perfectly,
you love that.
intend to because, wow, the place is great.
yeah.
Batch Southern Kitchen, easy to find. I don't know how your father thought that was difficult to find.
Because it
I
says
could see where the pizza spot, we always tease Mayo about him. Well, it's a little hard to find. And you don't want to say that about your sponsors, right? It's like, hey, no, this place is, I mean, you can't help but find
you
it.
don't give people any reason to not go.
Yeah.
Like, they'll not
Right,
go.
exactly. Yeah, nothing negative, in the end. What are you going to say? Well, the fries are sometimes mediocre, but, I would order something else.
I mean, that's fine. Don't lie about the fries, but don't talk about them. Like, it's not right on Federal. Like, you have
But
to
it
turn
is kind of
turn.
right on Federal. I mean, how is it not on Federal Highway? It's
There's
right
not a
there on
sign.
Federal Highway.
Like, you don't see their front, but it doesn't matter. Like, there's GPS. It's very easy, and there's free parking, which you don't always get in that area.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, never. Are you kidding me? Usually in massive tollway zones, even if you paid. So, no, it's good. Batch Southern Kitchen. And it draws raves everywhere. A lot of variety there, too. I mean, a lot of variety they have at that place. I really enjoy it. All right. So hopefully I'll see you down there, Lubie. If not, I'll try and check in somehow.
Okay.
But hopefully I'll have my car back. And I'm actually going to hit the road here for a little walk of life and try and squeeze it in.
Right now it's decent. I would run.
Yeah. I'm running right out the door. All right. Thanks for tuning in, people. Go Panthers tonight is all we can say, right? Did you give your prediction? What about Game 3? Give me a prediction.
I feel like Barkov's supposed to play. From what I know, he was practicing yesterday.
I hope the Panthers pound him. But
the fact that Draisaitl was not suspended further, I think, is a joke. I know hockey is a physical sport, but throughout the years, you've seen guys go too far. The head is supposed to be untouchable, let alone supposedly, from what all hockey people said, if you leave the ice to initiate contact above the neck and then you clearly do with your elbow, that guy's missing, even if it's a Stanley Cup Finals, missing a game or two.
Yeah.
That Draisaitl didn't get suspended at all. To me,
not even a major penalty. They had already called a major earlier, and I don't think they wanted to do it twice to the same team.
You're openly saying all's fair in love and war.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid, you're fucked. Like, that's what the Panthers are already a physical team. Kachuk already gets after it. They have a bunch of guys on both sides of the ice. Their offensive guys get after it on defense. You're telling me these guys can do whatever the fuck they want. Okay, there's no consequences.
Who's he going to go against? Draisaitl? Often it's another player. Like,
I want McDavid.
Do they actually target McDavid tonight?
I want McDavid. Our best all-around player.
Is his picture up on the bulletin board there? Saying this is the man. Whoever takes him. Is there a bounty going on here?
I've never been that guy. I hated Tim Tebow. I never hoped he got hurt. I think that's fucked up. Guys will get hurt plenty without you hoping for it. So I never hope. That's why the Porzingis stuff was me predicting. I still wasn't hoping. You never hope for a guy to get injured. That's just inhumane. But if you're going to allow a guy to go and try, he was taking him out. I mean, when you go after a dude's head with his elbow and you leave the fucking ice, you're hoping to fucking injure him.
Such ugliness. Yeah.
Fuck it. Then it's our turn. I think they should fucking, and that's the thing is, I don't know if they're going to win. The Oilers have to win this game or the series is pretty much over. I mean, 3-0. And the way
you would have to think they're done. So, I think the Panthers will win the series anyway. We all had Panthers in 6, so that naturally leads you to believe that the Oilers will win 2 games.
Yeah.
That's what we thought going in. I'm not sure that I saw evidence of that, although they did sort of outclass the Panthers in game 1 when they lost. And then the second game, I thought the Panthers were fairly dominant from the second period on. So, and that's kind of true to their character, the way they had played in the other series. They started to come on, and then once they seized control, they mowed down the Rangers 3 straight games, and I think they're perfectly capable of winning tonight. But for some reason, I think this will be 2-1 after tonight.
It feels like the Oilers win.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but somehow they pull out a 3-2 victory.
The one thing about these Panthers is even in games they've lost, they always find a way to hang around. So at least I don't think they'll just get blown. And if there was any chance that was going to happen once Draisaitl did that and then did not get penalized, every motivation to be highly.
There's a bounty out there. I mean, we're talking have gun will travel, my friend.
I'd love to see them go old school and fucking chased him down because I think that was utterly fucking atrocious. If
Paul Laws, man. Did you see him? He got on the team plane. Had a lingering shot. You're saying, isn't that guy that used to just get in fights all the time? That was it. All right, Lubie, I'll see you. Hopefully, I'll let you know about the car situation. I know they were sending out for some tires, and they were going to put them on this morning. So hopefully that'll get done by 12 o'clock or so. And I'll be able to join you guys at Batch Southern Kitchen, 1 o'clock for the Mike Mayo Lunchbox. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:05.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.